Okay, what's up, friends? Welcome to another After Action Report with RONIN 47R. You know, the HMH FV305 is now on sale, and, I'll go ahead and do my due diligence and bring this little video to you. It came out with this Heavy Metal Heroes package, listed with these 3 tanks here, and, looks like this if you look at it individually. And once it gets into the garage, it ends up looking like this, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's basically a Super Bert for all intents and purposes. With the gun being one of the big differences. And let's go ahead and just take a quick, for the record, speedy look in the background to see how the purchase went. Got to tell you, I'm just going to make this really short as far as the gameplay is concerned because, one, I just don't see how watching artillery is all that entertaining. I apologize if that really floats your boat, but from a replay value, I just don't see how that's going to happen during a game. I'll throw in a few bits and pieces, and we'll take a look at how it looks in the gameplay. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the FV305, again, the Tier 8 British Premium Artillery. Take some quick overviews. That the reload time for the gun is 14.6, aim time is 6.5 seconds, accuracy at 100 meters is 0.71 meters, max range is 10,000 meters. Again, just like the smaller Tier 6 Bert, the Super Bert is known for having the ability to hug something like a rock, shoot up and over it. So that's kind of a big advantage for this thing. Low on the alpha, quicker on the reload, but it's a lot of little ant bites versus a big giant kaboom. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Tier 6, with the Tier 6 being the FV304. Reload time is 8.8 seconds, aim time is 4.8 seconds, and accuracy at 100 meters is 0.7. Max range is 10,000 meters, and again, elevation and depression being the same. So you really see it's kind of just a heavier hitting kind of gun. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next step. All right, folks, so here we are taking a look at the HMH FV305. And what I went ahead and did is jumped ahead, knocked out some decision making for you, and now I can just go over it. That way it's a little more streamlined, a little quicker for you. So you can see here I went ahead and customized this thing by putting on the usual emblems on the tank. And to further customize it, because many of my clanmates do carry the emblem, the logo, the brand of our channel, of our clan, which of course is the red and white stripes. Went ahead and further customized that by putting on the Wrath of Heaven, which I've placed on the Bert, and I went ahead and also placed on this tank here, further making it unique to my tank here. So if you see this particular tank, absolutely do not shoot at me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You guys do whatever you need to do. All right. So love the green here. There is no option, by the way, to change the camouflage, which, thank goodness, I love this camouflage, so we're good to go. So it does save you 120 gold for every single season. Multiply that by 4, that's pretty rad. So you do save some Monet there. Kind of neat. And then when you look at, again, I'm not going to go ahead into a full in-depth review at this time, but just at a glance, if you were to take a look at the Bert, at a quick glance, it looked like the only thing different was the gun, going back and forth between the two tanks. But let's go ahead and jump into exactly how I set this thing up so we can start taking this thing for a spin. Went ahead and threw on some ventilation there to increase the crew skills by 5% all around. Went ahead and I want to get this gun going, so I'm going to go ahead and add the rammer there, because artillery is known for being very slow in reload in general. Meanwhile, the GLD, you're switching targets, you're recovering from a shot, that sort of thing. You want to get this thing into play as quickly as possible. Now, the bad news is I do have, I don't know, maybe I should bring in a better guy, but I'm going to go ahead and try it in 2 ways. I'm going to start off with my Bert driver, which is, he's not even 100%. So this tank is not going to perform as well as it should. And I just kind of want to see, what does it feel like in that scenario? Then I can switch him out for another British crew member who does have skills. And we can see if this tank here, the FV305, behaves any differently. But for now, I'm going to start off with this. So that's why that crew member is there. Going over to the consumables, you can see, unlike the Bert, and I don't know why I'm bringing it back to the Bert discussion, but it's fresh in my mind. And unlike the Bert, the Bert only has one choice of ammo. I mean, it's literally just one line item. This has 2 line items, and interestingly, there is a premium shell, of course, and your standard shell. Now, when you look at this thing, look at the damage. They're the same. Look at the pen. So I can increase my penetration going with a premium ammunition by 3 on the low end and by 6 on the top end. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Is it really going to make that much of a difference? I don't know. Maybe you guys know something I don't. So because I happen to have those shells, it came with the package, I threw in a whopping 1 just to try it out in case I needed to. I don't know. Threw it in there. Now, for this tank here, being its artillery, there's different schools of thoughts. Some folks say that, once you get engaged into a battle, you're kind of toast anyway, so, don't even worry about it when it comes to repair kits and all that kind of fun stuff, or different types of consumables. So here's my mentality here. Repair kit and first aid kit, I went with the larges. Maybe I'll have to use them, but the point is that I want to make sure any splash damage, any type of protection enhancements that I can get for the crew or the modules, I'm going to go ahead and get by having those additional bonuses by using the large kits. That was my primary reason for using these particular types of kits or sizes of kits. Meanwhile, these two are good to go. I don't really think I'm going to catch on fire all that much. Switch that thing out or use that line item space for the consumable here of the rations because I want to increase 10% to my skills. Which, of course, 10% of this particular crew is not so bueno. But in general, when it comes to a good crew, you're really enhancing a lot of fun things there. If you go ahead and press the Y button, we can take a look here, and we can take a more in-depth look. And you can see here the firepower is 34 and shell damage. And again, these are kind of like these middle ground averages, right? Shell damage 700. Penetration 73, reload time. I like how they break it down. Sometimes they say rounds per minute. In this case, it's 14.6 seconds. So it's kind of a nice, interesting baseline there. And of course, that's before any type of additional bonuses. Survivability 9, armor depth is 0 to 25, hit points 380. All right. And again, you're going to see tier 10. So this is a tier 8 seeing a tier 10. You have 380 points. So if anyone sneezes at you, you're kind of done. Mobility 49, 68 kilometers per hour. So it's kind of a tier 8 Bert. I'm going to go ahead and go with that analysis until proven wrong. Concealment 44, 27, 14. Okay, whatever. Spotting 45 with a view range of 320. Well, I'm going to be in the back. Pretty much I'm going to be relying on my buddies. So that is that. Kind of looking at the modules individually in the upper left-hand corner, you can go ahead and see some further pieces of data which may or may not be of interest to you. Power to weight ratio, chances of fire, that sort of thing. And reload time again, as well as aim time. Not too bad, not too bad. Looking forward to trying this thing out. Some rotation speed and signal range, so you can be in the back and get that communication with your friends with that signal range. Then you have in there that we saw in the consumable section, and then just shows you where the crews are living in this particular. I mean, you got to be really good friends, don't you? Look at that. You're in each other's lap practically. All right, so there's that, hitting the old armor action. And if you saw this, previously or looked at it, go ahead and blast past this part of the video. But just kind of good to know that you have a whopping 21 to 30 millimeters of armor, and that's for the treads and the gun. But as far as the rest of your tank, you're pretty much made of paper mache. So enjoy that, but it's no surprise to any of us. Again, don't be upfront. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and try this thing out on the battlefield. Well, wait, I just remembered before we jump out of the battlefield, just pointing out that yes, it comes with an operation. I finally completed it, thank goodness, but it was really challenging for me. Tier 8, you got to get, you're going to be seen very easily while still being in this tank, which has to be really close because for an artillery, it has very short range, so it's a very delicate balance. Okay, officially, let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay here. And in this case, it's Sand River. It's at night. Big whoop-de-doo. Let me go ahead and talk myself through this. Go ahead and pull up a chair and get some popcorn. Like I said before, I'm just putting in some extra video time so that way I can just kind of babble a little bit because I really only have just this one game to share with you. And the thought process going through this tank, my 2 cents, I'm sure I know for a fact there's a ton of you guys that are way better arty players. And even when it comes to arty players, you got to understand, I know enough to know that even the different nations have different characteristics when it comes to arty. You know, speed of reload, accuracy, splash damage. I'm talking stereotype of one nation versus another. You know, so here we are specifically talking about the Super Bert. You know, this is the Tier 8, very, very similar to the Tier 6, 304. This is the 305. So you really got to take into consideration, what does that mean? This isn't just getting in the far end of the corner of a map and being able to shoot all the way across the map. And also too, at Tier 8, being that you're seeing all the way up to Tier 10, be advised, I mean, even if you are seeing a Tier 8 tank, I mean, the visibility that you're going to have, or that they're going to have over you, is definitely going to be problematic. And when I say problematic, just something to think about. So here we are, you know, a scout sees me, what, 300 meters away, 400 meters away. Yeah, I was just getting on top of the hill there. Didn't expect him to get that close. Big whoop. But I figured what I'll do is I'll set myself up for the K line, and also able to maybe hit some stuff if they're kind of scouting around here in the river. Now, the point of me sharing this with you is just kind of giving you an idea, a feel for, you know, the range, the reloads. So here you can see the speed of which, you know, we're loading in. We've already talked about the equipment here, so I do have the GLD. You know, have some vents going on here. And then I've played this tank in the past with my Bert driver, which doesn't even, he's 100%. He does not have one skill. He's in the making of one skill. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this Super Bert a chance, and I'll put in the best British crew that I have, which has a good handful of skills. Not specifically designated for, it's a heavy tank guy, but, you know, whatever. So it's better than no skills, but they're not catered to an artillery, because I would be catering a bit, you know, to an artillery versus a different class. But the point is even with my sweet crew in there, I didn't really notice much of a difference. This particular tank, with the regular rounds that you're using, not the premium rounds, because frankly, I just didn't even waste money on the regular rounds. They are exactly the same, and if they're not exactly the same, they're only a little bit different, other than one thing, and that was the splash damage is greater with the premium rounds, and it's just not worth it for me. You really have to aim in. Some of these artilleries that I've used, I'm going to go with the Americans. I feel like I can, not always, but I can get away with being a little lazy and not waiting for it to all the way aim in. And I can get some decent pens, or something magical happens. With the British, it is I find it to be very, very accurate. Flat ground, flat shooting, flat target. It seems to be pretty darn accurate. But the problem is to get that accuracy, you better be aimed in. But it's going to take you a year and a day. And I don't know if it's the gun traverse or what have you, but as you're trying to mess with these guys, you know, aim in on them and launch it on them, and plan for your time. Like this is a 2.3 second, you know, shell travel time. So you're you're moving left, you're moving right, you're trying to do that, and then you jack up your aim-in circle, and so now you have to wait forever and a day. Now some people are going to say, well, that's how it is on all artillery, and I'm going to say, yes, you're right, but I'm going to say that there are, and I'll just speak to the Americans because that's who I've, you know, had more experience with. I have more leeway with my chasing a target, moving back and forth, where my aiming circle, unless it's extreme, it doesn't get reset. So I've had more luck with that. This guy here, he doesn't seem to have much left and right gun traverse. So you're going to have some hull traverse, which means you're going to reset your aim in. So that was kind of challenging for me. You know, some of these guys that can really make a Bert sing, you know, I'm sure they can jump right into this thing and make it go good to go. But there's nothing really too magic for me to share with you. I mean, everything is pretty much standard. There's nothing really to talk about. When I do contact someone, it's been about 200-ish is my average when I make a good direct hit. And then you can see here with my particular crew that I'm running right now, yeah, you know, just over 12 seconds for a reload. And then you're getting a good idea what the aim-in time is for that. And like I said, you're not going to really want to pull the trigger early because, and watch this. So here we are, aimed in completely. I fired, and even then that was off a little bit, but I think that was because it's an ellipse. It was, you know, non-level ground, so that takes into consideration where it's going to land. But it's a little bit of aim-in time. But for artillery, though, you know, 12 seconds is quicker, you know, for this tank compared to someone else. I don't know if I want to play up to a tier 10 in this, though. I don't feel all that confident in it. And again, it's, gosh, if I was able to hang in the back and reach all the way across the map, I would do that, but I really have to get closer, a lot closer than I'm comfortable with, to get into the game. And then just that darn, you know, I don't mind waiting for the aim in time and that sort of thing, like a typical artillery, but it's usually worth your while, because if you're patient and you do connect, you get a nice damage hit. But you're patient, you're patient, you're patient, and then if you miss, or excuse me, if you're patient and you do hit, it's such a low damage roll that I feel like, you know, I don't know. I just not a big fan. I think this is a great tank for what it is. I think it's cool that they finally have a tier 8. I think it's cool they have an artillery. Kind of spices up, you know, the differences there. So that's wonderful. Gives some variety, I guess is the word I was trying to look for as I kind of fall asleep on my feet here. But, you know, trying to blind fire, trying to anticipate where people are driving. There you go. But again, look at the damage done on this guy. It just splashed him. It scratched him. Nothing too crazy. This is a tortoise here, so, you know, pretty decent armor. And you got to think about what I do know. I mean, there's things that I do know about artillery. So here's some words of wisdom for you. I just don't have the skill to execute on what I do know. And what I do know is that you are taking into consideration, just like in a regular tank, you are taking into consideration angle of the dangle. You know, where's your shell coming in? Where's it going to land on the tank? Is the armor angled and all that kind of fun stuff? As a shell, as you're shooting artillery, if you're launching a shell for artillery and you're far, far away, you're going to have a much more up in the air and then down on the target, versus if you are close, then the arc is going to be very low, not going to be a very large arc, and so now you're more flat. And again, I'm just, you know, kind of stretching the truth there to get to prove a point. So, you know, as you're far away, you can start aiming for things that are going to land and come down on top of turrets or engine decks or whatnot, based on your distance and again arc of your shell. Then you're taking into consideration, okay, you know, I'm going to hit this thing from the side and whatnot. Just something to think about. So here you go, a big whopping, hardly anything happened. Was that 5 pens? I'm down there at the bottom, nothing too crazy. Anyways, guys, I went ahead and showed you what this tank was about. Hope you got at least an idea, did it for the record books, and now I'm going to climb into something back into the tank destroyers and whatnot, because it's a little more fun for me. All right. And as usual, I really appreciate those of you who have helped out with the grind. We've slowed to a halt, hoping that people are going to pick this back up, get on the PayPal, get on the GoFundMe, so we can continue keeping this channel alive and relevant. And then jumping back to this, I think the tank looks pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of it. Have you played it? Did you get it? Have you played against it? And what have you noticed about it? All right, guys, you take it easy, and I will catch you later. Girls, you said you had something you wanted to ask them?
Do you guys like our channel? Then please donate and keep our channel running.
Well, that was a nice thought, girls, but you know what comes next.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are one of the 47 Ronin. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.